And we're live on a Friday then. Saturday, Sunday, what? We are here for a special event, which we'll see if anybody shows up to the event. But I want to make sure everything's working right. I'm doing a live chat. Give me 1 second here. Never really cared to do this. It says learn more. I was pushing buttons. Forgive me. Anyways, we'll just leave it as it is. If nobody shows up, that's fine. I'm going to go ahead and continue on with just a regular Friday night creepy reading. We'll go into some shadows, but I wanted to grab some cards, and I want to continue my reading from earlier. Let me give you the whole little intro here. I am the High Priestess Phoenix. I am your spiritual healer, teacher, shaman, seer, oracle, lightworker, starseed, earth angel, mystic, medium, psychic, witch, yogi, guru, messenger of God, evangelist, North American civil, first child of God. I am the Lilith, among all things, reincarnated. And today is a Friday. So I wanted to pick up on a little bit more about this astral traveling that we left off on earlier. We're a little bit all over the astral travel realms. I want to talk about that right now. In order to have an understanding for that, you'd obviously would have had to catch the video that I posted earlier, along with this cool short that was in my community page. But for means of witchcraft, I'm going to show you how some shit works. I'm going to show you how this works in the 3D and how I don't usually do this, but I'm going to show you a little bit of magic. I'll show you plenty of magic, just not this. Okay, so astral traveling is traveling outside of your body to a place. I was talking about earlier how we do this quite often, unconsciously, and that you need to learn that you can learn how to control it and go into specific places in time. I just sit in a specific place in time, and I talked about that earlier in my video. Now, for witchcraft and occultists, and what they like to do is they like to astral travel to your location and stalk you like a motherfucker. Why? I'm not really sure. I really don't know. I think they have this intention, can stalk you. I'm not really sure. How much watching can they do? It depends on how strong their connection is. It really does. Knowing how strong my telepathic connection is with Russ, I could probably imagine he was spending way too much time watching me as well. Now, I can't tell you what other people are doing. I'm going to tell you what I'm about to do and how that works. So, I discovered, God made me aware, when I wasn't aware, that Wolfman is a dark practitioner. I had my suspicions since the beginning. And he made me aware, but he didn't just make me aware. He showed me what this motherfucker was up to. I was like, oh my god, Becky. Oh my god. I need to talk to Marshall. You're never going to believe this. And I couldn't even really fucking fully put it in words to him what I had seen. It was harsh. And so next it's like, oh my god, what do I do? And the Holy Spirits are like, we got this. I'm like, seriously though? They're like, yeah, we got this. I'm like, seriously though? Oh my god, Becky. Right? And I spoke about that the last 2 days. And then, I just shared a video from Lumen Moon, and she's like, I'm picking up a King of Wands, and they're getting haunted. I talked about all of that in the last couple of videos, too, about spirits and how spirits work. Is it my spirit? Am I haunting you? Did I send something to you? No, I opened the gateway. That's all I do is, as the gatekeeper, I open doorways. So I opened the gateway for the Lords of Darkness, and they were going to, it wasn't specified. They got me too. And what is it? They push your shadows to the surface, terrorize you with your own shadows. And I told everyone how to defend themselves, which is ultimately just face your fucking shadows. And so it's funny because, I made all these videos about, trying to help people understand what spirit is. And so while I'm doing this, in the back of my head, I've got this very evil spirit trying to attack me that's been trying to do some serious fucking work on me. And I didn't know that it was, what was going on. I'm all protected. I didn't see. You're on the other side of the mirror. I don't see what you're doing. Thank goodness for that. Thank goodness. I didn't need to see all that. But anyways, yeah. Going back to it, it's like, I was trying to teach everyone, but at the same time, it's like, I already knew that this guy knows more than he's leading on, and he's a bad guy. So then my Holy Spirit had showed me where he had given up, he's given it up in his page. He's shown you throughout his time. There's pieces of it. And it's like, okay, so I shared this video that he had just posted like almost a year ago about the Hermetic principles. And he has a full understanding that everything is spirit, right? So what I'm about to do right now is really fun because it's an equal battle of wits. And you know what I mean? When I challenged him, when I first found him, I challenged him to the astrals. I said, I'll fucking find you in the astrals. I'll meet you in the astrals. Meaning, I'm not going to have a physical fight with you. I'm going to find you in the spirit realm. Right? And then I came back the next day, and my Holy Spirit was like, no, calm the fuck down. And I was like, you're sabotaging. You're just in attack mode. Chill. Right? Because the lesson hadn't even begun. Right? I was already going to the end of the lesson where we're supposed to be right now. Right? So it's like I was too far ahead of myself in time. And so what it was is like, what I've been trying to teach you is how spirit works through everything. In the video that I shared, he has a full understanding of how spirit works. So in essence, it's like right now we're going to have a little spiritual battle here. We're going to have a little fun. So I taught you how to astral travel. Okay? Now I didn't teach you how to specifically go to specific places. Where are we specifically going to go? We're going to go terrorize Oscar, the Grouch. Oscar, the Tarot Reader. How does that work? Well, lately he's been posting videos inside of his room. So now we know what his room looks like. So, in essence, what am I going to do? I'm going to project myself into that room with him. Right? Now, because I'm spirit and I know his spirit and I know that he's just made of spirit, and I spoke about it earlier, how this woman astral traveled and put herself in his body. I'm going to go over there and go spend the night over in his room and have a little bit of fun. Now, I had told you that I'm capable of putting myself in other rooms and moving things and doing stuff. Have I done this yet? No. It's going to be a fun experiment. And this is why you have to be careful about sharing too much of your inner spaces, because they can do that. They can see. And that's why you also don't want to share too many of your pictures and your energy. Do you know what I mean? Because people will take your picture, put them at their altars, call their deities, using your image, take them to, all of these great places. How do I know this? Oh, I had many occultists try to attack me on my way up. Many, many indeed. Many indeed. So, in the essence, and those were who I got caught in the astrals. You know what I mean? I set traps in the astral realms to catch many, many, many souls that were trying to, that had no authorization to my no access to my energy, and were hunting me as if they could. Now, those that didn't have the actual ability to would send deities. And when the deity arrived and realized that it was Lilith, or Isis, or Hecate, the actual energy of all those, they're not a name. I'm an energy throughout time. I'm the goddess. I'm God in his female form. Always have, always will. I am God in the female form. So when this deity comes to God in the female form, it's returned back usually. But most of the time, no. I consume them. I consume all of it. I haven't done return to sender since the beginning. Because, they became more and more intense. And if I would have returned this back, I would have lost a lot of loved ones. Why were they acting out of? Pure impulse of the mind. Same thing everybody does. You think you're powerful and you can do all things and you're going to break all rules to be, to get your way. What did he want? He wants my power. What do they all want? He knows that he's studied Aleister Crowley's. He knows exactly how to steal a woman's power. I shared that earlier. Through what? Sex. How do you enter my body? My soul is inside of my body. And if my soul is the access, the gateway to the entire universe, How does he enter my body to get that power? It has to, you know what I mean? He knows that. He's taught all of that. He didn't specifically spit it out in all of his videos, but it's there. You take that and you take all of his dirty habits and how he takes pictures, and it's all about, women and how he's, the one night stand, the King of Wands or Knight of Wands. He likes to see himself as a fucking emperor and whatnot. So in essence, he's been working real hard. And that's how I ended up seeing him a week ago. I saw him in a space where he was masturbating. I literally saw it. I was like, Jesus. Meaning that's how strong he was focused. And that's what he was doing when he was focused. Like, can you put yourself down? Why are you trying to contact me? Why don't you just send an email, you fucking weirdo? In essence, you fucking weirdo. So, I'm going to have some fun. And while we sit here, I'm going to send myself over there to go fuck with him a little bit. He's, that's what happens. It's like, where exactly is he? Well, he likes to share it. So he's shared that he's at this beach. He keeps sharing that he's at the hotel so I can visualize the beach, the back of the hotel, his room. He showed me his bed where he sleeps. What is Lilith known for? The wet dreams, my friend. Sleep well. God said I could. He said you were fucking with me, and I said I could. So shall it be. Now, that's what I'm going to do while I'm sitting here with you, because as the ability to be in all places at all times, I can project one part of me to do as I say. And that's it. So shall it be. Now, I can be in all places at all times. I could also project another part of me to another place. It's not just one place. You can be in all places. You have to be careful, though, because you got to pull yourself back. If you're not paying attention, you don't know what you're doing over there. How does that look? When Kylo Ren and What's-Her-Face were fighting, like, they're visually fighting. They're in two different locations, but they're connected so that the veil thins. And in that sense, you can kind of slip and they can see that you're there. Again, only the unconscious can recognize the unconscious is in the room. He'd have to be in an unconscious, he's going to be in an unconscious state when he sees my conscious in the room. Consciously, no. My spirit guides, on the other hand, oh no. They can do all kinds of shit in the conscious. Why? Because God opened a doorway for them. I just sent, you know what I mean? I sent my unconscious. They're moving around in form. Now, is it an outside form? No, he already knows this. It's inside of you. Everything is inside of you. The only thing that outside of you that has power would be Mother Earth. Right? So that would be the stones, the rocks, the all of the herbs, everything, the Garden of Eden and all the creatures. Everything else doesn't really have any power. It has an energetic field, or it has a blueprint on it, meaning like I can hold an object and it can tell me history, where it's been. It can show me things, right? In the sense of that, but it doesn't have any actually power. It just has a memory. Meaning people put their memories, or they put a print on it, a blueprint. They put a print on it. Everything has a memory, right? You buy something, you wear it, you create this memory, you remember it, you hold on to it, and then you pass it on. It still has the memory of it. That memory doesn't get washed away. Everything carries a memory. It carries a blueprint. Not even that, like there's this other word they're trying to use. A fiber print? No, something like that. I don't know what they're trying to say. Anyways, so that's what we can do, and you can put yourself in different places. Now, with that being said, I'm going to go back to my Psychic Development for Beginners by William W. Hewitt. I'm going to jump to chapter 14. We left off on chapter 13, Breach of Time. In your psychic work, you will not be constrained by time boundaries. While you physically live in the present time and specific location, in the psychic world, it's a different story. Your psychic mind can travel to any point in the universe, in the present, past, or future. To assist you in your psychic travel, you will be introduced to the breach of time on the shores of the sea of the cosmic conscious. While on the breach of time, you will be able to function physically at any point in time and space. The breach of time exists at a psychic level of your mind different from your basic psychic level. Okay, so they have some exercise of how to get in there, right? There's these meditations, blah, blah, blah. Relaxing, meditating, counting down. These are all of it. It's visualization, and it's learning how to cast your mind, into places. So you can start with exercises of going to just local locations that you've been to, right? And you can cast yourself over there, and in the sense of a memory, you can go to the past, but you can learn to travel through the future too, to the present and to the future, and you can go further in the past. To do psychic work in the present time, just go to the beach of time and perform whatever psychic work you wish. When you are at the beach of time, it would be a good idea to ask your guardian angel to instantly bring you back to the present time with your eyes open in the event of an emergency requiring your immediate attention, such as a neighbor's house on fire. Yeah, like if I need to wake up, wake me up. Now I want to point out, they say, you have to talk to your guardian angel. You're never alone doing this shit, bro. You're already, by the time you're doing this shit, you're with the angels, archangels, guides. You've already passed this, dude. You're in the unconscious, like I said earlier. People like him, we need practitioners like them that are still in their ego, that are serving two minds, that are two minds of everything, meaning they're like, of this world and trying to be of the spiritual world. And once you're in the spiritual world, you're with the spirits. And that's when your spirit guides make themselves known. Again, I started breaking through my ego quite quickly by self-sacrifices and massive amounts of healing. So they became visible as I started excelling through my levels. And there's just certain parts of it. Like I said, I didn't know Kobe was the dark night of the soul. This vision of me that would come to me. It was exactly as they described it in my other books. It was, a black horse with a dark cloaked figure, no head, carrying a pumpkin lit up in fire. That's how I visualized it. I would just sit there and I'd see this vision, and I knew that hardships were ahead. Alright, later, it had a face, and it took a shape that I recognized, which was Kobe. And that was it. It came later, right? So some of them I saw right away. Pac immediately. I don't know if it was Pac or Michael Jackson first. I really couldn't tell you. But Michael Jackson was present in the sense of he wasn't talking to me, but Pac was always talking to me, and like he's the closest to me, never ever leaves me. Never ever. Like, they're not always present. They are, but not so present in the sense of fully. He's fully, I feel his energy always, even if I can't see it. It's always there. Now, is it an outside? No, it's inside. All of this is inside, bro. This isn't some kind of, I see fucking figures outside of me and all of this shit. No, that shit you're seeing out there could actually be entities. But again, I'm the holiest of holy, bro. I don't have weird shit happening around me. I am the archangel walking through the fucking streets, bro. So in the essence, I swear to you, they know my signature. Everything bows. That's why the animals come up to me. That's why babies look at me. That's why the fucking wind turns to me and everything. Fucking parking spaces open and people look down and part ways and fucking lights change and all this weird shit, bro. I am very much spiritual royalty, right? So when I woke up, though, as I'm going through new levels, I have new guides. That's how I met all of them. And I gotta be honest, fucking Vishnu was the hardest to get through to me. It was so funny. It's a whole cosmic joke. He's trying to break through to me, and I don't understand what these downloads are. And finally, I put on some fucking gangster rap, and now I can get the frequency, and the visions are starting to make sense. And they make a big-ass joke. Did she speak anything but rap? It was a huge joke. I couldn't, you know what I mean? I don't know what the fuck you're talking about over there. Like, I couldn't. And that's when they tried to do the downloads, like the Palladians trying to get a hold of me. What the fuck? I'm going to pass out. This is too much light. You put too much. I'm going to I'm going to swallow my tongue and pass out. Like literally, when they try to connect with me, too much light, too much light. As you go into altered states of consciousness, which is these higher vibrations, right? You're entering their realms. And some of them are literally on charts of the ascension path. They say it. You're in the Buddha realm. You're in the Christ consciousness. You're in the oneness. You're in the Melchizedek consciousness. You're in the consciousness of the greats. And they literally approach you because you're in their realm. It's a mindset. So again, going back to this, when you're traveling, you ask your guardian angel, who's mine? Hawk, I guess, ultimately, that never ever leaves. They're there, but not so present. It's not like I have to invoke Kobe. I just have to breathe him in. That's it. In the essence, I don't hold on to him. But before, nah, bro. He was on my neck, and he's the first thing in the morning. He's just not. You know what I mean? He's my battle energy. I can't fully explain it. The oneness. That's like saying that me and Russ are ever apart, or Bobby, or fucking Marshall, or anyone. Physically, our bodies are somewhere else. Mentally, we can connect when they're in a quiet space, which is not too often. We used to be able to connect. As I was going through my healing process and I was on their mentality, I could hear their frequency and be connected with them instantly. Within seconds, I could hear the ring-a-ding-ding in my head and know exactly who it was and show up in their fucking stories. Because I could hear their frequency, just like me. When I step into these realms, they hear me. It's like a doorbell goes off. Ding, 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 ding. You know what I mean? And they know I'm there and they approach, right? Same thing. But as I started healing, those doorways started closing. I didn't hear those frequencies of low vibrational people. I don't hear what you're talking about. I don't hear you. I can't hear you. You're static electricity at this point. Truthfully, most of them are now. I'll just hear some static in my ear and I try to find out which ear it's coming from and what the tone is and try to dig up some information later because I no longer know your frequency. True story. Now, with that being said, it's because we're connected in one. But only a small part. The stronger we connect, the stronger, you know what I mean? That's just kind of happens, right? So in essence, I connect with Russ a lot. Why? Because he's just, he manages to find my frequency. He's on my frequency a lot of the time. A lot more than everyone else, to be honest. And why is that? Because Lucifer is the opposite of Lilith. There can't be Lilith without Lucifer. But no more can there be Adam without Lilith. You're like, forever they'll exist? I don't know. Die, motherfuckers? I don't think so. Will we all die around the same time? I think so. Will they live as long as me? Maybe. Will all of us live that long? Possibly. Kanye? Maybe not. I saw the Dark Angels come for Kanye. Saw them trying to come for Kanye. I knew they were coming. They were coming for him. I saw it. It was horrendous. Now, I just want to say that is like, going into your psychosis. It's like, no, you're going to meet your angels right away. And I mean, I think probably one of the most appealing thing to people is that they're historical figures in time that come to me. Always historical figures. The thing is that, yeah, they were historical people in time, but it was the energy and the work that they did that made them masters during their time. If you take away their fame, the famousness of what they did, and you look at the actual impact of change that they did, we all share that purpose. We all had the higher purpose. And that's why, you know what I mean? They came from, so when I'm on my purpose, and it's time for them to come in because they've had to walk this purpose, and so they're their guides, and that's how it is. When you're going through this dark night of the soul, that's Kobe. I can't say it'll come in a Kobe form, but there was somebody within your life that took that has that energy, that's going to come and push you through this. Right? There's going to be someone that comes in with nothing but love energy that changes your vibe. That's going to be there too to push you through this. You're going to have a group, and that's, your soul tribe. You're going to have a team that's going to be pushing you through this. Right? And as you go to new levels, you'll have your team, but then you're meeting them. So when when the Palladians, you know what I mean, connected me, when I connected to the Palladians, to the highest level of light, the vision is I'm just it's a dark room, and I'm laying on a table, and all I can see is beings. That's all I can say. I can describe you. What are the figures of them? They were beings, like fucking aliens, bro. They were beings without faces. They were beings, bro. They didn't have form. So most things don't have form in the other realms. And they're all around me. And behind them, in the dark, I can see Kobe. And I'm asking him, Kobe, what's happening? What's happening? Right? So even in, you know what I mean? There's always, your guides are always there. And that's where, got it disconnected. They take me to the lake, or to the Colorado River, and I'm sitting there, and all these men roll up. Like how many? Fucking 75 fucking, you know what I mean? My taste buds. My God. I'm in the middle of making a video telling fucking Marshall that he should have never put his daughter's wife out, or his daughter's fucking, you know, wedding out there and all that shit. Those are personal moments. And in the middle of telling him he shouldn't have shared such personal moments, all these dudes roll up, dude. And I'm like, Pac, where are you? There is a whole bunch of eyes here. In the essence, I call for my spirit guides, like, no. And that's when I met Oscar. I said, do you know my spirit guides? They are very real. So who the fuck is fucking with you? Pac? He's the only one that gets ugly like that. He punched fucking, he punched Russ in his face while he was sleeping. I don't know what he does, but he can do whatever he wants. Anyways, so yeah, you're gonna meet your guardian angels when you start leaving your consciousness, and that's it too. Are you crazy? No, you'd be crazy not to have an angel guiding you. And that's what people thought, because they were historical people, bro. But here we are, and look at what's going on with Diddy, and this had nothing to do with what you said. He told us, bro, and he told us how this ends. Are you guys waiting to see if he's not guilty? He said he lost. He told us this 2 years ago. He said to follow the money. And that's, by that time, they must have already been doing a huge federal investigation. He loses, bro. He loses everything. Everything, everything. Everything, everything. Pac said, bro. And that's where it is, like, you know, they couldn't believe it. But it was true. You know what I mean? Nipsey and all of them, when they came to me, it's like, I didn't want to look crazy, but I couldn't deny who was talking to me and who was there. And once I admitted to it, they never left. And you could tell that, you know what I mean? It wasn't, I don't know. I think it irritated. Like, I think about what Bobby says. So, like, there's this morning, and I can feel his energy. I don't give a fuck what your fucking mind is saying, dude. The words that are coming out of your mouth. I can hear you thinking about me, bro. Like, harder than anything in the world. So I reach out and tell him, I can hear your something, your thoughts, or I can fucking feel you or reaching out. He's like, I don't know what voices you're hearing. I'm like, bro, whatever. Anyways, I probably use my basic psychic level 90% of the time. Reserving the beach of time for when I want to relax and interact with long periods of cosmic conscious. As you practice with the beach of time and your basic psychic level, you'll decide for yourself when you prefer to use the beach of time. What is it? It's just this thing he made. I'm not reading it all to you. Meditation is a powerful tool for communicating with cosmic conscious. Time is an especially powerful place to perform meditation. It's just a place. Where do I go? I can't really describe it. It's just like a dark window. Like a window? No, not really. I don't have a form. Oh, how do you explain this? So it's not like your eyes. It's everything. Okay. I'm a star. I'm a star universe, and I can see everything. I can see all things. Thank you. I didn't know how to describe it. It shines from all directions, so it sees all things. And that's what I was trying. But it's not limited to, like, if I turn. It's like, no, it's like 360 view out of everything. But it's all dark, is where I sit. So, and then they're like, this is what you are. You're a star. That makes sense. That explains the view that I have. Because that's where I go. It's to the darkness. And it's just dark. Sense. And in essence, I'm probably not a star. I'm the moon. The goddess of the moon. But I was trying to describe it. It's like, where do you go? Where's your home? It's a place of darkness. I always say that, where I can see everything. All the things going by, all time and space. I can see the past and the future. I can see the present. I can see realities on different planets. I can see the time. I can see space travel, meaning the beings that are literally traveling through space. All of it, dude. I can see galactic wars. I can see ancient times. It's all kinds of it. When I get into these visions and this stuff, I'm literally there. And that's why I'm like, dude, they're showing me the whole battlefield. They're showing me shit. It's like not something I ever seen on TV. I'm physically there. But again, you're not limited to your eyes. You're not in a form. You're like the air above everything. And then you can be in a form with everything. And you can take form and speak with the forms, you know. It's so much. Alright, I do most of my meditation in the bathtub. Oh, dude, these are intense. I just had one hell of a baptism. The warm water relaxes me and adds physical reality to the sea of cosmic consciousness. Another thing that I do in there is I turn into a fetal position. I've always said this. And I put my hands on my side. I'm barely, like, literally the water is almost up to my nostrils. I'm, like, literally, like, using my hand to hold my head up just barely above the water. And I'm in a fetal position, and I close my eyes, usually staring at a candle, burning some incense. There's oils or some kind of smell goods, some kind of herbal essences are in the water. And I sit there and I breathe, and I pass, you know, I travel. Journey is what they call that. But I don't have to do that. If I'm standing up just taking a shower, I get hella downloads. I'm traveling and doing all kinds of stuff. You'll always hear me talking about my downloads in the showers. And it's because it's just, you know, you're back into the waters. In meditation, I go to the beach of time and I wade out the sea of cosmic conscious until the water is up to my chin. I feel the energy and the life and the joy of life flow into my body. In the bathtub, water adds realistic physical feeling to give more power to my meditation. You might also want to try this. And then they have this other thing. My first awakening, I talked about it. I didn't know what it was, but I had this huge awakening on top of Mother Cabrini's. I blacked out, didn't even know how I got home, but when I got home, my body was breaking. And I didn't know what that was either. Now I know that that was the alchemical transformation in my DNA. But when it happened, I didn't know what was happening. I just started becoming very sore. I was filled with all kinds of sadness. I was crying. My body ached. It started to get worse. At first, I just laid down and I tried to sleep it off. And then I woke up and it was still hurting. I just woke up crying and my body was real sore, like I couldn't carry it. And I went outside to have a cigarette and I didn't feel any better. And I was smoking some weed and I didn't. So then I ran this really hot bath. And I'm sitting there, dude, and I'm laying there, and it's just, it's hurting. Like, the best way I can describe it, by this point, my skin feels like it's bruised. Like, if you touch me, it feels like everything is bruised, and please don't touch me. So I crawl into this bath, and I'm about to drown in there, dude. I'm literally about to drown in this bath. Like, I'm sitting there, and the water's coming up, and I'm crying, and I hear this voice, which is a twin flame I don't talk about much, is Tree. In the beginning, during my healing, he was there, and he would witness me going through all of this, you know, all of my personalities, and he would say this a lot. You just need to love yourself more. So as I'm drowning in the water, I hear him say this. You just need to love yourself more. In the middle of, I don't know what's happening to me and I'm falling apart. So I start thinking of affirmations, right? I start saying affirmations unconsciously. I start telling myself things I like about myself, and that things that other people like about me. And I'm laying there in the water and I'm listing these things. And I keep listing them, and slowly I get the energy that I can sit up. At this point, it's got to be the most terrifying thing you probably ever saw. I'm looking like the Grudge, the girl from the Grudge. My hair's hanging over. I've been crying. I'm so sore, and I'm just spouting out weird words of affirmations, positive affirmations. I finally get to a point where I'm like, okay, and I pull the plug to let this water out, right? Because I've been in there so long, the water's not hot anymore. And as the plug is going out, I feel this sensation that with the water, it's pulling this negative energy out of me. I can feel it, literally pulling it from my head all the way down into my feet, and it's getting pulled out. I'm having this visualization where I'm feeling it. My eyes are closed, and I'm just kind of, I'm listening to the water drain, and I'm feeling it pull it literally out of my body into the water. Is how I have this kind of, feeling. And so I fill up the bathtub again with hot water, and I do it again, and I drain the water, and now I open my eyes and I feel like I can stand up. So then I turn on a cold shower, and it kind of washes it all away. And I do a lot of baptisms, a lot. I bath or shower at least 2 times a day. I've already had 3 today. Like, I took one right before we did this, I took one earlier today, and then I took one in the morning. I do a lot of it, and most of it is not because of psychic shit, but it's literally just to refresh myself, because I need to refresh myself. I need to wash this energy away, and that's literally what happens. Whatever's in my mind or on my body, when that water starts, it literally pulls it down the drain for me. Sometimes I just need to soak and just let it all come out, just sit down in it. It's not always about washing the shit out of my body and shit, but I always put smell good stuff in it. I do always, rinse my body off, and then I come back out. I have to change my clothes and put on, new deodorant and new lotion and all that stuff. So I'm constantly baptizing my body. I'm constantly, every time I go in, I use different, usually I'll use different products. I don't always wash my hair. I'm putting different conditioners in it, though, stuff like that. And it says your body is the temple, so I'm applying stuff. So I took a picture tonight, and I was going to post it. I was guided to put these tea bags. I was going to make a joke. I was teabagging tonight. These cranberry tea bags into my water, and use this cranberry body that I have to wash my body with. And so even though I don't know what the fuck that's all about, I also bought cranberry oatmeal. You know what I mean? So something's going on here. Do I have UTIs? No, I don't know. I was laughing about it. I just thought about what that bitch said. That's terrible. But in the essence, it's like, you realize that you're being guided, and there's coincidences that are not coincidences, that, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. And so your body is a temple, and it's not so much about what you put in it, but how you treat it. You know what I mean? What you keep on it. So I keep a lot of this gross stuff, like some of the shit. I use a lot of sandalwood. I use a lot of these herbs that I know have magical powers. You know what I mean? So like for astral travel, you would use mugwort for astral travel, but it's very dangerous. You don't use it in your house around children. You have to keep a window open and be very careful messing around with something like that. You know what I mean? That would be for dream travels and stuff like that. There's different herbs and stuff. I have, as I call it, Professor Snape's closet down in my car. But I have many ritual bags that have all different types of herb blends where I can, you know what I mean? I can use herbs as a fire witch, put them all together, and brew some crazy shit. And all I gotta do is light a candle, and this shit is about to go down. You know what I mean? So stuff like that. And that's what those baths are really important about. I recommend that you start today and continue every day to use the beach, whatever. You're going to have to buy this book if you're really that interested, and it's an old-ass book. I don't teach you other people's. I teach you how to... why? I don't want you to teach you somebody else's magic. I want you to discover your own. When you start really working with magic, you're going to have a guide that works with you. An inner guide. You're not going to be reading it out of a book like a recipe. I don't. I do shit, and then I find out later what the fuck I done did. Like, what are you doing? I don't know. I was guided to mix these together and go up to this mountain, bring some foods, do all this weird shit. My Holy Spirit said to do all of it before this fucking sun sets, or before this moon or something. They never give me enough time to do it. I wonder why my car's all fucked up. Speaking of which, I saw that dude tonight. I was gonna talk to him, but I had to hurry up and get online. Alright, let's see. Solve problems. Ask your spirit guides and cosmic conscious for help. This is probably the most practical and widely used purpose of psychic power. Send love and help to people. I do a lot of that, dude. I will send, and that's what I mean, is like, I'm nothing but love and light. So I have to spread it. That's what God wants me to do, is spread my light. Spread the light. Spread it. Asking for guidance in life, that's what we use divination for. What do you want me to do? What the fuck am I supposed to do with my life today? What am I supposed to be doing? That's where we use divination. We just ask them. We don't ask them I don't ask them what other people are doing. I made a fucking pact at that. And that's why nobody can fully ask the cards about me. I made a bind on that, an unbreakable bond. In the sense of, I will never pull cards on another, but no one else can pull cards on me. You can, but you're not going to get the full answer. Why? Because it's just that. I made a sacrifice, and out of my sacrifice, it's honored that way. I promise to never pull cards on another. And therefore, somebody can't fully pull the cards on me. As long as I don't pull cards on nobody else, nobody will fully know the truth about what I'm doing. And that's how I like it. And there's only been one person I was ever tempted. The rest of you, I don't care. Why? Because he's actually up to something. He piques my interest because of, what are my interests? Healing. He's shown over the years that he's healing. So I'm always curious where he is healing. But I never invade his, I scared the shit out of both of them. Forgot to tell you I did that, Marshall. So anyways, I was able to break through the internet and start messaging Marshall, which is, you can't do that because Instagram won't let you do that. Well, I decided to push that a little further, and I did the same thing to Russ, and I did the same thing to fucking Lewis. I was like, see, I could send you messages too if I wanted to. And then I turned around, fucking Oscar. Now mind you, Oscar blocked me, and I still sent that bitch a message. I was like, come on, let's go toe to toe. So they're all sitting there scared. How did she send me a message? How did she get through? Bro, I'll see you in your dreams tonight, my friends. Not really, just that one. The rest of you are fucking fantasizing. Alright. Let's see. Let's move on. It's talking about cosmic conscious. That's where it is. Let's do a collective reading. You mean the minds of the dummies? I don't want to go into the minds of the dummies. Now, the cosmic conscious, and that's what collective conscious is. You guys are part of collective conscious. You all think with this reptilian fucking mind, and it all makes sense, and you guys all have this chit-chat, and you guys can conversate on this low vibrational wavelength of thinking that you all live on, which is called your egos. The collective conscious, and that's where all these great thoughts and stuff come from. They try to say it's God. They say God is the collective conscious of all things, which makes sense. I mean, where do we all get our thoughts from? Right? It's a big brain, right? Pinky in the brain, I guess. It's collective conscious. It's a consciousness of all, collection of all consciousness comes from there, right? We are a fragment of that consciousness, which is spirit. We're a fragment of God. All of us are a fragment of God and the universe. Right? How does that work? Go look at your birth chart and you can see what you're made up of, what planets you're made up of. You know what I mean? What your spirit is made up of. And that's how you know what you reflect. What part of God and time and space you're here to reflect. You know what I mean? On this journey, I suppose. So the cosmic conscious would be, spirit. We're all a spirit of God. Or conscious is, the unconscious is your spirit. The conscious is your mind. So if we're saying that we're all part of a one big mind, then we're all part of God and his big brain. But he's not a brain. Oh my God, that scared the shit out of me. What was that? Dude, you wanna know?
It's on air fryer.
The fucking door of the air fryer just flew open. Really? Yeah, and it's like a door to a fucking oven. It just flew open. Dang, scary.
You're gonna be in it tomorrow.
Right? Anyways, do not combine. Are you playing with me? Hold on. Is that Oscar fucking around? He could. Maybe. This could be good. We're gonna have fun. I'm gonna fuck with you all night long. Alright, anyways, let's see, what else? Finding your career path, where you can go and find out what you're supposed to do. I don't think you should. Wait till Gabriel tells you to do some bullshit. Find the best use of your ability. Let's see. How can I make the best use of my psychic abilities? Ask any related questions you wish. Stay for as long as you desire. It's just a place, and then you go. They tell you what to ask. Consulting with your spirit guides and guardian angels. Ask your spirit guide and guardian angels to. It seems very forceful. People do it all the time, though. They invoke spirits. I don't do that. I mean, I'd be fucking around and be like, and you're like, what? Oh, when I got like period pains and headaches, I'll invoke him and ask him. I mean, I'll give him by free will to the ability to come from within over my body. That's the only one. I can't think of anything else that I've ever asked to come in. I tried to connect with the conscious of Carl Jung, but I was made aware that he's already fucking that conscious guiding ourselves through this bullshit. He's transformed. Stuff happened. Happened. Really? Yeah, I see it. Does it happen? I don't know. To know when I see that guy. I haven't seen Bruce online. Anyways, in the sense of I don't call Raphael, and that's because like that's his job is to feel, you know. But that's after, you know what I mean. I've tried a couple of different things on my own, and that's it. I was just calling that angel. I can't say that I've ever. Spend as much time as you wish communicating with your spirit guides and guardian angels. I don't call for them. They're just there. When I need them, you know, when I'm laying in bed, I can see all these times when I'm laying in bed and I need them. You know what I mean?
You ever talk about the schizophrenia of the guy?
Yeah, that was crazy. You know, like when I'm laying in bed and I'll just look over and then there's Pac. He's right there. And it's just like, okay, I'm cool. I don't know. I don't bring them in. They're just there. Except for that one time when I called for him. Where the fuck are you, Pac? And he said, you know what I mean? I was in the light and he's on the other side of the veil. But again, anytime I'm not in the light, hanging out with God and Almighty and all that bullshit, you know what I mean? He's in the in-betweens. He's in the in the multiverse, I guess you would say. He's just not in heaven. Heaven is just a frequency. It's just the light. And what's up there? All of those beings up there. Mostly only them. Only them, bro. Only them? Yeah, and I'm the only one that goes up there. Why? Because I'm Lilith, I suppose. Nobody's ever been up there. Nobody's ever done what I did. Maybe if a human being did the type of work, they could access God like I do. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's not, I guess it's what you call heaven. Where they all rest, where it's like a place of light. It's not the galactic light, whatever they call that. That's a fucking gameplay here on Earth. All kinds of weird, galactic beings and shit. That's not where God is. Or the angels, Melchizedek, Jesus, any of that. That's not where they are. It's just a light. I don't know how to explain it. You could put clouds in it, I guess, if you wanted. But there's no clouds there. Do you know how stupid that is? Can I just say that? You guys picture heaven with clouds. Where the fuck are clouds? Clouds are only created within the ozone of planets.
They have water.
I'm just...
Does that mean like there's no meat in heaven?
Well, no. Why would there be meat or animals?
What would you eat?
They're creatures. You don't eat. You don't have bodily functions. You're not in a form. Exactly. Like there's no animals because that's a form. That's just a form of this planet.
What if I want to be?
If you want to be an animal, you're gonna have to you're gonna have to be on a planet where that animal habitats. You can't just be an animal in the a monkey in the a space monkey.
Never mix snow with
There's
earth.
no, you guys aren't in a human form only but here on Earth. Why? Because the Earth form can't live on other planets. It's not made to live there. God made Earth and He made man from the Earth. For the Earth. The Earth is only made for man. And that's why when other beings come to Earth, they can't survive properly here. Why? Because the density is what they call it. In the essence, these are unconscious beings in a whole Matrix 3D conscious fucking world.
What's that one, iRobot? That one.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. You guys
Those
are a bunch
robots
of...
scare me. I like them. They're weird.
So that was a great movie. It's coming to life, and dude, Tesla made all of these. That guy's a weirdo. Anyways, it says you can meet with your guides and thank them and ask them questions. And I mean, honestly, bro, if you're gonna really invoke a spirit, you can ask to be shown who your spirit guides are. I'm pretty positive they're not gonna be famous people. I gotta be honest. I don't think they will. They might be. But if you're gonna do all this, dude, just have a talk with Jesus. And that's what I used to do before all of this. I would go into a place of prayer where I would see myself walking up on up a mountain, up a green hillside, and He would be sitting there on a rock, kind of like Odin in that last, view. And He's just sitting there in His robes. And I walk up, and by the time I approach Him, I'm already crying, and I fall to His knee, and I put my head on His knee, and I just cry. It was always my visualization, of approaching Jesus. It wasn't because I was crying to see Him, it was because my heart was so heavy.
Like seeing your dad again.
Yeah, something like that. You know what I mean? So if you're going to go to a place to visualize and talk with someone, then I would encourage you to go have that conversation, meet Christ. Honestly, go to the top. Asking for help. Select something to which you would like your spirit guide or guardian angel to help you. For example, you might ask, help me with my psychic development so that I may become the best psychic I can be. I wouldn't ask them for any of that shit. They're gonna fuck with me. I didn't do shit. I asked Kobe to go. I was told to tell Kobe to go to the game, which I didn't have to tell him. I just had to make it known that he was there. I didn't have to tell him. He can do whatever he wants. He's everywhere. Meaning he's at every game all the time if he wants to be at the game, but he's in everybody's, it's inside of you. They all are. Contact your spirit guides or guardian angels using whatever method they suggested during your meeting in exercise 30. Oh, that was that. Ask your questions and thank them. Much of your future psychic functioning may involve interacting with your spirit guides or guardian angels. This has been very important psychic training exercise for you. Do not hesitate to contact or to consult with your spirit guide or guardian angels often. Even if you try, I mean, that's it too, is like, they're never ending. They're going to be here until the very end, and then even on the other side. And where do we go from there? I don't know. We go on to another lives, I guess. We always stick together. It's not like, oh, thanks, we had a great time, I'll see you, no. We stick together and we go on to the next life too, wherever we want to go. But what it is we're going into the light. If we want to, they're going to get up there and not be happy with it either. I don't think so. Whatever. I'm taking everyone up there, but we'll see if you want to stay. It gets boring up there. What is this? Communicating with people? Yeah, that's hard. Difficult people? That's hard. Meeting the right person for you? Nah. Communicating with entities. Let's keep going, shall we? You talk to dead people? I mean, what does that mean, bro? They took a form and that form died. How does that mean they're dead? Jesus never died. We never died. They don't die. People don't die. The body dies. The spirit doesn't die. If you have a special interest in entities or ghosts, or most people refer to them, you will seek an out opportunities to communicate with them. Again, I didn't try to do this, bro. They talked to me. I didn't go looking for dead people. This is one of my special interests, and I take every opportunity I can to visit authentic haunted houses. No, I'm supposed to go there, and I want to leave because of enjoyment and every life. I'm thinking today. That's it. I didn't ask for this. In addition, you can communicate with any deceased person you wish by inviting them into your mental awareness, where you can experience intellectual contact. I don't. I'm literally in my own space, and they approach, and we have a conversation. I do not start conversations with these motherfuckers. I do not. I'm all by myself, and then they walk up and start talking some stupid shit. Or I'm in the store, and then I gotta go talk. Dude, I didn't ask for this. And again, I just want you to be aware of it. It's just it's an unconscious thing that you enter. Like, you see dead people? I mean, not as much as I hear them. Some contacts with entities may involve both a physical and spiritual presence. This is sometimes something exciting. What just opened that fucking gate? Many people are not that enthusiastic about such encounters. And that's what it is. Oh my god, that scared the shit out of me. Every impulse that you're not aware of is scary. I am, and that's what it is. What is it? A jump scare? Everything's a jump scare to me. I wasn't expecting that. If it tilts your fancy, go for it. Alright? Encounters with a ghost. I've had several encounters with entities over the years. I'll relate to just one case that I found most interesting. On page 151. Tales from the Crypt, huh? I don't want to know. Who cares? Something about... Who gives a shit? It's a long-ass story. It's all ghosts. How to contact entities. To contact a deceased person, an angel, your spirit guide, or any entity, you can either use your basic psychic level or the Beach of Time. Try both ways and see what you prefer. Again, you're going to have to read the book. I'm not going to teach you how to do this shit. Communicating with animals. Animals only function at those states that we call altered states. They do not have a beta state of awareness. Therefore, it is easy to communicate with them. If you are a pet lover, you do it all the time, whenever you know it or not. Really skilled animal trainers do work at psychic levels. Case number 11. Takra in chapter 7 is an especially good example of communicating with animals. If you wish to communicate with an animal, here are some exercises to get you started. I don't really. They connect with me. And that's a lot of things too. How did you know? I didn't know. I felt it. Like, how did you see that bird? I didn't. I felt it. I felt the connection. In the sense of, it was talking to me. It looked upon me before I looked upon it. And that's where they just come out of nowhere. They just be all coming out of nowhere. But I also know that this is a language. That animals are a language that God sent. For me, I know that. So when they come to visit me, using my oracle cards, I know that they're delivering messages and just their presence. And that's what we do all the time. Our presence is a message. Our frequency is a message, right? So when I step in a room, I'm giving off an energy. When an animal steps in your presence, it's giving off an energy, whether or not. And that's where it is, yeah, I get communications, downloads. Like, it's not directly from the animal, it's from the spirit realm, and it comes through, just like they said, through the doves. You know what I mean? There was lots of animals that delivered spirits, all animals that approach you. Then I'm seeing this really funny one. It's one of the highest levels of fucking animals, of the animal kingdom, of the spiritual animal kingdom. Russ has a heron come walking up to him while he's projecting on this bird, and he's making this video. He's like, I feel like the bird is trying to communicate with me, but he's being weird about it, and I don't feel comfortable because he's a weird bird. I'm like, he's trying to communicate to you, and you're being a weird human, and you're projecting onto this bird that's trying to, get to know you. It was a really funny thing watching him do this in the middle of the night. I found it hilarious. And that's where it is too, like Lewis, he went out to Africa, and the animals were coming, coming to him and stuff, and it's like, you guys don't fully understand the connection of this animal and what the message is behind the ability to connect with this animal. And it's something simplistic as even going to the zoo. You know what I mean? These animals are part of a, and that's why they're not in heaven. They're part of a, they're a soul in an animal form. That soul is has an energy, it has a frequency, it has a message. You know what I mean? There's how many different lions, but each lion has a different personality. They do what lions do, but they're a different personality of a lion, each and every one of them. Just like us, we're all humans. We're a reflection of, again, the collective conscious. You know, so connecting with your dog, people have asked me that, you know, what happens to my dog when it dies? It takes another form. It only took a dog form. It takes another form. It might be a cow. It might be a human. It might be a ghost. And who knows? It could be a rock. Everything has life. And you come to, you know, experience, like, don't get too high and wonder what it feels like to be an apple. You might come back as a whole fucking apple tree. But that's not a bad thing either, because the tree, as much as you think it's sitting on top of the earth, it's connected to the whole earth. It's getting transmissions running straight through the soil from the other side of the earth, where we have to, like, wait for an internet connection. They're fully connected. From the moment the tree raises from the ground, it's connected to all things, all living things. It's pretty interesting. And that goes back to it. It's like, you know, spirit. There's a spirit in all things. So yeah, you can talk to the spirit of your animal. I wouldn't expect that you know the language. It's an inner knowing. We were talking about that too. What's that guy's name? The dog whisperer? He can understand the psyche of a dog. You want to say he thinks like a dog, or he's just on the frequency of their thought, of their understanding. He can tell by their patterns. He's been around them long enough that he can see the non-verbal language that's being said. You could say he's, you know, he's a dog psychologist, but in the essence, it's more of a spiritual thing. And everybody can have these connections, you know what I mean? Not just with your pet, but with other animals. It's a spiritual thing. Earlier in the book, I said, what is this? Problem-solving methods. Problem-solving. Your warning system. On the beach of time, I had asked my guardian angel to warn me in whatever way was appropriate for the situation. It saved my life once. Here's what happened. I was driving about 40 miles per hour on a busy street. My right foot, as though driven by the mind of its own, quickly jerked from the accelerator and slammed down hard on the brake pedal, bringing me to a complete stop, an emergency stop. At that instant, a car shot out at high speed from a blind spot of the street, running the stop sign in the process. Oh yeah, there's those moments, dude, where they just pull you out a dangerous way. He crossed just inches in front of me. I had not stopped. There is no doubt that I would have hit and probably been killed. At this moment, I made a video not too long ago. I was in the middle of a live, and I really wasn't in my body. I was just driving. And all of a sudden, I look up in my body, and there's literally, in the fast lane of Pena, which is this highway that goes 65 miles an hour into the fucking freeway, into the airport, in the fast lane of it, there's this car not just stopped, but the person is literally outside of the car, and they're changing their tire in the fast lane. And I'm approaching it at 65 miles an hour, and I'm not literally in my body. And all of a sudden, I look up, and I'm in my body, and I have to swerve real quick. I'm like, oh my God, I wasn't even in my body. In the sense of I was just, you know, on autopilot. And that was a scary thing. As far as, you know, being guided and stuff, you know, my Holy Spirit, when I was under a lot of attacks, they'll wake me up in the middle of the night and throw me in the shower. Like, wash your spirit off. You've been under attack. They've been trying to get you while you were sleeping. Or, you know, they'll just tell me when to light, you know what I mean? When to do banishment spells, when to do shit like that. They're always, you know what I mean? Their job is to protect me. So, you know, when I overstepped with Marshall, right? What happened? I'm telling you, it wasn't that big of a deal, but it was huge to me. I had a conversation with Marshall that was very intrusive and very deep. I was pushed into it. What happened? I don't know. It was a Sunday morning. I'm just sitting there scrolling, and all of a sudden, pictures of his daughter in her bikini start popping up on my Facebook. And I sent him pictures. I was like, look, this is not fucking necessary. These are attention-seeking behaviors. You know what I mean? This is going to lead into, this is why she's getting married and trying to make her own family and trying to create all of this. And how long before she has a baby? And is this really what she wants, or she's just trying to recreate what she didn't have at home, and blah, 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 blah. And I'm really, you know what I mean? I'm talking about alcohol and how, that she's unhealthy. She's carrying his curses. I'm telling him all this on a Sunday. On Monday, TMZ reports that they have pictures saying that the Sunday before, he was at her wedding. And I realized that I was in his DMs all about his daughter and her behaviors and her future while he was sitting there vulnerable at her wedding. And I was just like, oh my God, what have you done? And I blame my spirit guides for not stopping me from doing that. But I'm yelling, I'm screaming at them, and I'm very upset because I feel like, dude, he is never going to talk to me after doing some shit like that. And I'm like in his DMs, and I'm like crying, and I'm like, I am so sorry. And that you saw that just was like, because I did. I just pushed it, I just sent him a fucking screenshot. I was like, you saw that was the Holy Spirit. And I didn't mean to have that conversation at that time. And I mean, we should have had the conversation, but I apologize. And oh my God, I'm so sorry. And I know you're probably never going to talk to me. This is when, I am losing it. I'm feeling like this is the end of our relationship forever. And meanwhile, I'm pissed off at my spirit guides for letting this happen. You know what I mean? You're supposed to be bringing us closer, working with him, getting him on track and bringing us closer. And here I am. You let me just tear us apart like this. You let me just step into some shit. Your job is to protect me from fucking up my life. And I just fucked this up real fucking bad. Real fucking bad. And while I'm freaking out in his DMs, he's trying to send me messages. He literally changes his profile picture and everything in the middle of my meltdowns. And I'm not seeing anything. All I see is this is the end. And I go sour on my spirit guides. I gave them all responsibility. You fucking did this, bro. It wasn't that they did this. It's why didn't you stop me? Why did you let me do this? In the essence, I just felt like I made everything worse. That he was in a very vulnerable place. And here I come and attack him and make it so much worse when I'm supposed to be his closest friend and I'm supposed to be there in his vulnerable times. And I'm literally hurting him when he's already hurting. Is how I felt it went down. I put myself in his place of what it meant to be there at her wedding, not as her father, but as Marshall. What about Marshall? What, you know what I mean? He's got a lot of built up, fucked up feelings about, his marriage. He didn't get to enjoy a happy marriage and a happy life, but it was his dream. And it became his biggest nightmare and his biggest regret, and he never recovered from it. So here he is watching her live the dream and hoping that her life is going to be better, but ultimately it's got to trigger him into, his failed marriage. So I'm sitting there and I'm watching it, and I know he's sitting there with her family, all of his exes, plus his ex-wife, and all of this harsh feelings, and alcohol and everything, and he's just in a vulnerable place. And here I am in his DMs making it worse. Telling him she's not going to have a good future because she still has all these wounds from the life you gave her, and you can see it. She's not healed. All that money didn't heal her. She's not going to have a good life just because of the money. And I'm telling him this while he's sitting there at her wedding, bro. I felt like such an awful person. I felt like I just hurt him so, you know what I mean? I hurt a hurting man. But he was trying to show me it wasn't, calm down. But I felt terrible about it. And I screamed at my spirit guides. I screamed at God. My spirit guides disappeared for a couple of weeks from that. I held them responsible for something that wasn't their responsibility. But at the same time, it set the boundary of me understanding what their job truly was and what our relationship was. You know what I mean? Kobe came back first. The other ones, it took him a little bit longer. I went off because I was like, this is your job is to watch out for me and make sure that I don't make my life harder and I don't sabotage this or fuck this up. And I fucked this up real bad. And you weren't there to stop me. You weren't there to guide me. You weren't there to help me. How could you let me do this? In essence, it was my most important relationship, and I felt like I just ruined it, and they let me. and they didn't stop me, and they didn't protect me, and they didn't, you know what I mean? In essence, I thought I did something wrong, and their job was to help me. And I realized, you know, it created this boundary of, like, first off, you're supposed to have that conversation. We had nothing to do with that conversation. You can't put no blame on us, and you know what I mean? And we're not going to, you know, let you down. This was all guided. And that's where it all kept looking back, as I'm crying at him. I'm like, look, you know that I just got walked into this. I'm so sorry I did this to you. He might have not really cared, but it was huge to me. And that's what I yelled at him. It's like, you made it feel like you can't have these conversations with you. You project yourself that people can't cross certain boundaries. And I realized not only was I crossing a boundary, but on the worst day of ever. So I felt like I was going to double whammy, and I lost you. Why? Because you created these invisible walls that I felt like I was, you know what I mean, I crawled over and I was going to get killed for. I had every reason to believe that he wasn't going to talk to me for some shit like that. I had every reason to believe, you know, I have all fear in my life that, you know what I mean, not only is he hurt and pissed off, but this could really backfire. Not that he's a gossiper, he was going to make a song about it or anything, but it was going to be detrimental to our future relationship. And I didn't want that. And so, you know, your spirit guides, they have their jobs, but their job is, you know, just to walk you through it. And that's it too. You know, I know that when I'm getting tested, that's Kobe. I know it's Kobe pushing me. He's pushing me. I always know that's Kobe pushing me. Trying to see if I'm going to act a fool. If I'm going to, you know what I mean? I'm going to stand up and make us look good. Because when I don't look good, he don't look good. Because he spent all those years with me. It's not that I should know better. And if I fall short, you know what I mean? It's not like he's on me or anything. It's just like, you know, he's with me, and I know better. And I can do better. And anytime, yeah, he's here on a Monday always. If you want to catch Kobe, it's a Monday. For sure, Kobe's there on a Monday. Hawk usually pops in on some bullshit on a Saturday. I'll see Mac on a Monday, quickly. Mike always on a Sunday. Always in that love energy on a Sunday. They have different days. It's not like they're only there on that day, but you can specifically see them on. Their energies rule those days mostly. I'm always going to see Kobe on a Monday, where we're going to sit down in my mind and my emotions, and we're going to look back on the week, and we're going to sit and, you know, replay the reels is what I call it. We look at the moves, and we sit back and we just kind of, you know, look back at it all. And if anybody, you know what I mean, and then I start getting irritated, Pac will come and, you know, start stirring the pot, make us start calling people bitches and shit. Not helpful. Not helpful. In the essence, it's not a bad thing. It's just like, can you stop? He's such a serious joke. He's so serious, but it's just a joke. I mean, it's not. He's not joking about fucking with you. He's very serious, but it's all jokes. Like, what does that mean? I don't know. You have to know him to know what it means. That's what, I don't know. Like, is he haunting you? Yeah, it's very serious. But it's all jokes to him. It's very serious. It's very serious. He takes this very serious. He takes his, you know, his spiritual authority very serious. And I've seen him do things that I have not seen anybody else do. And I guess he has a spiritual, you know, he has a, as I said, he has a spiritual immunity as my guide. Kobe doesn't do that shit. Nobody else does that shit, bro. They do not do that shit. He'd be breaking the rules. In the essence, I don't think the rules apply to him. That's what I mean. He has an immunity when it comes to me. He can get away with more shit because he's my guide. They can't do that. I'm like, you can't do that. And he's like, you don't know what I can do. I never do. I never know what you're doing. Don't tell me. And that's it too. I never wanted to know. Like, he'll come and tell me shit. And that's what he did. He told us what was happening with Diddy. And then he gave us the heads up about fucking Snoop and Dre is next. When's that going to happen? I mean, they're not going to take the highlight off of Diddy. And in essence, is it all combined? I mean, it could. They're all part of the same industry, and the whole industry is falling. Who better to take down the music industry than Tupac Shakur? I'm sorry, but let's be honest here. I tell you who comes in the music industry and who talks to me. These are the ones that fought the industry, that were part of a generation. honestly, most of them, the black generation that were trying to make their mark. Now we got a bunch of fucking mark-ass fucking rappers and fucking industry hoes out here that done fucked up the whole creation of music. You fucked up their works. So they've come to do the work of God to, to start it new. And that's what it was. It's like, everybody wanted to be like, and then personal. You know what I mean? Whatever's happening with, Diddy, you didn't take that. That's personal, bro. That's personal. Will and Jada, that was personal, bro. That was personal. Fucking Snoop and Dre, that's personal, bro. This dates back to his living days. Whatever's happening with them in our time dates back to when he was alive. And that's divine timing, my friend. Enjoy your time. But it will come to an end. And that's it, you know what I mean? All things must come to an end. But no, they're next. So says Pac. And he kind of gave me some ideas about it. I didn't really want to know. He was giving me visions about it. Simple shit, though. I don't ask questions. And then I made the mistake of asking one question. I was in the shower, and I asked why Denon Porter, his neck was so fat. I was like, why the fucker's so fat? And in that moment, I swear to you, I had proof. His spirit standing in the shower with me, telling me that he's hiding something, that he knows, and that he's a fucking betrayer, that he knows about his death. I was like, really? And I ran over to I told all of them what I saw. That's not my information. I hallucinated that. All my abilities, and I made that one up. And that's what it is. I can know all of this until I get to you, and now I'm making it up. He said it. He said that Denon was a traitor. An insincere hanger-oner is what they call those. He's just a karmic. Most of your relationships are just karmic. They're karma. They were your karma. You have to overcome these relationships to break free of your karma. And you're not breaking free of these relationships. When you're a person like Marshall and like all of us, that have, abandonment issues, you tend to hold on for too long. Marshall has made them everything, and it's the same as asking Russ, or I guess Bobby, or whatever, to leave your family, or leave your, that's your family. But you can't take your family where you're going. And if you just stay right there, your family's not going to go, you're not taking your family anywhere. Marshall can't show his family a new way of life because he's, living the same old life. That life only brought money, I guess. That's the same thing as Russ isn't going to get his family to heaven buying them stuff. Bobby's not going to get his family, and Bobby, you're not alone. Nate is very unhappy in his marriage. Logic's not unhappy, but he's not a married man in that sense. He hasn't really put on that role of married and father, married with children. He hasn't really accepted that yet. But in the essence, it's like, you're not making your families any better by just holding on to jobs. You're not guiding them and creating a new future by giving them generational money. Because there's nothing to say that, that money's going to last our generation or theirs. Your job is to, pass on survival techniques to them to where they're, they'll learn, they'll have a good head on their shoulders where they'll know how to take on this world on their own. You know what I mean? That's what it means to raise your children. Not to give them everything and meet all their needs, but pass on the wisdom and knowledge that they'll need to take on the world outside of them, because they will leave and they're gonna go create their own realities, and all they have is what they learned at home, their little education system and the little bit of life experiences they have is all they have to go out there and become the best version of themselves, to explore themselves for as long as it takes. They'll start with their first job, school, first love, first apartment. They'll fail, they'll crash their first car, you know what I mean? A lot of fuck up, you know what I mean, shit like that. But, you know, they're on their way. And all we can do along that way is, yeah, it's nice if they call us and we can help them financially through their way. But even paying this bill, that we're not really helping them. They still haven't learned how to balance money and stuff. We're still going to have to help them with their bills later. You know, that's just it, if you can. So you can't say that that's always going to be helpful, paying off their credit cards. They're not learning how to make money, you know, choice money, you know, make money management choices and shit like that. You want to be able to help them out. But helping them out ultimately is supplying them the right information of how to, the right mentality. You know what I mean? You know, ancestors and stuff like that. It's like I'm seeing, you know, animals, as we were talking about, you know, like the orcas. They teach them how to hunt. They teach them you know, the elders teach them their survival skills. Any animal, it's like the elders teach them how to survive. The mother of like a cheetah, right? Or no, it was the lioness. Maybe it was the puma. I can't remember. I watch a lot of documentaries on animals. I think it was the lioness. She'll have her cubs and she'll keep them for a year and a half, teaching them everything that she knows. Everything. Right? And then she'll just leave them one day. And what she'll do is she'll actually take off and she's on a hunt to go find a new partner and have more cubs. But after like a year and a half, 2 years, she just leaves them. This is it. I can't carry you any further. I need to move on with my life, right? You're old enough. I've given you all the knowledge of how to hunt, and now you must go on. And if it's only one cub, it's only one, but that's how they work. They don't stay with their, you know, the lioness doesn't keep her cubs. She has them, she trains them, and she sends them on their way and has more. And that's, you know, the birds too. Is like, you know, once they leave the nest, they don't come back. They don't fly with their mommies and daddies and, you know, have a happy, loving life. You know, they teach them what they can, and then they're on their way. And you hope that they survive and they have a good life while you continue your life. It's kind of how it was. So in essence, it's like, you know, when you're raising your children and shit, it's like passing on the knowledge and wisdoms and hoping that they can apply it, but they're going to learn their own ways. They're going to create their own way. Or they're going to follow other people's ways and stuff like that, depending on what you told them was right to do. So going back to the guys and all of this, and I'm going to close this off with, started with astral travel. We've been talking about the mind. We've been talking about healing. It's like, your healing means more than just your peace. Your healing is an ability to heal others by you just being a walking demonstration of transformation. Right? Speaking about it is not going to get us anywhere, and that's where I can point out all these people that are just talking out their ass. Real healing takes real sacrifice, real discipline, and real introspection, and it's going to take a real cutoff. I want to remind you, you know, it's Friday, and for whatever reason, you should know by now what God is asking you to let go of for this weekend. He's asking you to let go of some kind of security or comfort and jump into the unknown of trust and belief that there's something better out there for you. I'm supposed to encourage you, you know, based on my own walk, that it's safe to do so that you can start taking this Jesus walk, you know, one step at a time. On Friday, we do this. If you haven't caught it yet, you still have all day Saturday. A Saturn day is to push your limitations, your reality, and your age. Okay? All of these awesome abilities that I have is because I've pushed the limits of the context of my mind. I'm guided to do things that I'm terrified to do, and by facing that fear and following in faith, I inherit gifts of the Spirit that I can use as spiritual healing tools and techniques for other people. Right? That's how that all comes to be. You can't just be psychic without all, you know what I mean? With a dirty mind and a dirty heart. That doesn't work. Most of this you can't do, you know what I mean? So I teach you the basics. That's what I focus on. I haven't done that this weekend. They're all laid out, all of my dark cards, but I know we've spent too long. My phone reset, so I don't even know if we've been an hour and a half, whatever. I have all my dark cards, so we'll pull those tomorrow to pull out your shadows. You know what I mean? Face your mirrors and look at what area in your life you really need to face and make some changes this weekend. We do that. We prepare all week so that we can face a battle on a weekend and overcome a fear, so that every week we're progressing. We know that we're doing it on a weekly, if not, throughout the days. We're training for it, but on the weekends is when we do this type of work. We're weekend workers. Gives us something to look forward to, I suppose. So that's where you're going to be facing. I've taught you a lot of great stuff, and it all goes back to your thoughts and your feelings. All of this, dude, all of it. I could teach you all kinds of shit, but in the end, all it comes down to is I need you to work on each of your dark thoughts one at a time. Let them, you know what I mean? You need to break this down to its most rawest form, which is essence. You can't break the thought down. You let the thought break you down. And when you're broken, you can sit there and see the pieces of yourself in this whole memory in all of its rawest forms. Here's an example. You don't want to remember somebody's death. You know they died, but you don't want to go back to that moment, because in that moment there's too much to visit. So it's still lingering, it's haunting you because you haven't revisited this moment. You know the damn well as soon as you go back to it, it's going to hurt real bad. And there's a lot more of this moment that you disassociated from and you didn't really experience. These were too harsh of moments that you didn't allow to experience, but that experience is still lingering within you. You need to go back to that moment and follow it. It could be the moment of the funeral. It could be the moment in the hospital. But I promise when you start at that moment, you're going to start going further with this person. All the way through these memories. But you need to go back to that last memory and start there. And follow it. All the way down. The healing's going to take you through the whole memory of this person. That's just where it ended, but you don't know where it started. And you need to take this ride with that person. You know what I mean? You need to take this journey. You can't just cut them off. You can't just cut this experience off and cut your feelings off, like just because they're dead, you don't feel anything. That's not true. And they're not dead. You're trying to kill them off in your mind. Just because their body's gone, and that's what I teach you, the necromancy. Their spirit lives on in your memories. If you're not giving them your memories, you're trying to kill them off. And they're trying to reach you through that very memory that you're running from. Every time I want to remember my mom, the first memory I have is her death. I have to go back to the last memory to go back to other memories. It's the gateway. The last memory, you know what I mean? Every time, you know what I mean? Every time I think about Bobby, I go to the last memory. But then I can go back to other memories. But I always have to go back to the last time I saw him. The last time we spoke. And that's pretty much everyone. I have to go through the last memory to get back to some of the other memories. That's that gateway. A lot of these memories, they're calling you back. And you don't want to go back to them. And it's not necessarily the person in these memories, but a piece of you is calling you back there to help yourself through it. There's a piece of you that stayed there. You literally cut yourself off there. There's an emotional cutoff where a part of you died there too, in these moments. And you need to go back and reclaim yourself there. There's a piece of you stuck in time because you didn't emotionally process this time. So you have an emotional attachment to this moment, which is a piece of you is stuck in this moment. You have to go back to these moments. That's why they're haunting you. It's not that they're so terrible, it's that you haven't let them go. And it might not be one journey back to it. You might go back to it and spend at least an hour crying and then pull yourself out of it only to wake up, go to sleep and wake up and be right back there again tomorrow. Some of these moments we got to keep reliving over and over and over. Russ, on the 818 portal, when he dropped Santiago, that was the biggest pie in my face that I had had. Up until that point, I asked the boys, and they were in just as shock. None of us knew that he had a girlfriend this whole time that he's entertaining and torturing and playing with me on the internet, and I'm playing with him. None of us knew he had a girlfriend. He comes out with this album I told him not to drop. He doesn't just come up with the album. He blasts out his mother, which is a low blow that he likes to do with me. And then he shows everyone he has a girlfriend. He comes out with a girlfriend, too. And all eyes on me. Did you know he has a girlfriend? And you got to understand, I had just overcame the shame of being, tied up with Bobby and his wife. To find out that I'm fucking entertaining a guy that has a girlfriend. It was such pie in my face. But I acted like it didn't bother me. And it didn't. I didn't feel it, dude. I just shut down completely. And I acted super cool about it. But I didn't act. It was real how I reacted to it. That was my real reaction to the shit. I didn't put on a fake smile. I really reacted like that. Completely shut down. So, for like months after that, my spirit guides kept taking me back and taking me back. And I'm like, what the fuck, dude? Why do I gotta keep reliving this moment? Do you want me to hurt? I don't hurt about this. I don't feel anything about it. You're just pissing me off. They had to keep showing me and keep showing me for months before I could acknowledge that I was hurt. Well, hello there. There's somebody in the comments. What's up, what's up? And that's where it is like you don't really understand why these memories are so haunting. But you're not letting them go because they're not letting you go. Because you are not letting it go. And I couldn't understand why I had to keep reliving this memory of, this moment. Because it was really a harsh moment that I didn't process. And it really did hurt me, and I didn't allow it to hurt me. That was the problem. And I had to keep reliving it until I accepted the pain of what this moment did to me. And I accepted what I did in this moment when I was in pain. Did you see what you did when he hurt you? I didn't even acknowledge that it hurt me. I couldn't even acknowledge it. My pride wouldn't acknowledge it. That I was so hurt by what he did. As I still sit here trying to, I'm trying to attach to that feeling. It was such a detached feeling. I was embarrassed more than anything. Hurt? I don't know. Jealous? No. I was just embarrassed. I was embarrassed and surprised. I didn't have any ownership over him. He wasn't my boyfriend. I was just embarrassed. I was extremely embarrassed that I had been talking to a guy that had a secret girlfriend and that I had been entertaining it for so long. I was embarrassed. I wasn't hurt. I didn't feel it. But it was a shattering moment. It was very, you know what I mean? In the essence, he does these hurtful things and I don't allow them to be hurtful to me. And I have to look back and be like, damn, you were really hurtful. Like, I have to remind myself how hurtful he is. Not to dwell on it, but just to remember. Like, that's what I said to Marshall. It's like, he's Lucifer. What would you expect? And that's what I told him. I was like, he's Hades. What did I expect? Meaning, you're caught up with the person in front of you, not realizing the spirit you're dealing with. It's like, I'm dealing with a whole badass spirit right now. It's kind of like saying, it's Kanye, what did you expect? I don't know. And that's where it is, it's like, I don't see him as evil. But his fucking, I think it's childish and petty. But his intentions are evil. Like, he is literally out to hurt somebody. Who, me? I guess. He really wants me to hurt. And that's where the spirits are like, you hurt him, though. They're telling me that it's because I hurt his feelings so badly. I made him feel all special, and then I told him he wasn't worthy. Is what the spirits say I did. Which is probably in the videos, and I agree. At some point, you know what I mean, I ran. I considered that I could be in a relationship with Russ, and he could be, you know, we could be happy-go-lucky. And then all of a sudden, I was like, I could never be, this would never, ever work. You definitely can't be that guy. And then I just started treating him like a friend. I friend-zoned the shit out of him. And I don't know if that was a good or bad thing. And that's what started all this. They say I started this. Which, I guess. And I tried to finish it, but it just, I mean, if this is what we're going to do for all eternity. That was that funny post. It's like, your soulmate is here to trigger you for the rest of my life. And so I was like, does somebody else want to hold my hand while this guy's irritating me? He's irritating me. Did he irritate me today? No, I don't want him today. I don't know what he's up to today. He's probably irritating himself. Or maybe he's irritating his real girlfriend. I don't know. He's an irritation to life. I'm not really dealing with him today. I have my own things. With that being said, yeah. There's so much in this video. All of my videos are getting cram-packed with so much information that it's like, where is it all coming from? The universe is just pouring out of me. And every time it does it, it knocks me out. I usually get knocked out for like an hour or two. Because it's like, whoa, that was a lot of info. Well, I don't know. Nobody showed up with any questions, and I don't blame you, because ultimately it's like, where to start? It's discouraging in the sense of I can think that nobody's paying attention and they don't know what I'm talking about. But it really doesn't matter. I'm just supposed to put it all out there. I'm way before my time, or after time, the beginning of time, or just on time. But when I go back to the beginning, that this is all has to do with your thought process, and all you think about is the things of this world, and all you're thinking about is, you know, paying bills and worrying about your next, you know, whatever. I realize that none of...
your bra. It's all wet.
No, those are not, that was not in my bra. Those are, that was in the bathtub, and, and it's leaking.
They fell out because your bra fell down.
No. No, they were in the bathtub. They're tea bags, but one of them's open.
Yeah, all over me.
Yeah, throw it away. They're just tea bags filled with herbs.
I thought it came out of your bra because it fell.
That's funny. The ball, things are just falling. I don't know. But anyways, yeah, you're not going to understand any of this until you start clearing out your mind and your feelings. And we'll get back to that tomorrow. Anyways, happy Friday then. Laters, haters.
Your stink smells like ginger.
Ginger?